All right, Nick, let's talk about the Green Bay Packers. With the emergence of Jordan Love in this young offense, you have to feel good as a Packers fan coming into this offseason, just feeling like this team is way ahead of schedule, way ahead of where people thought they were going to be. And you feel like this is a team that will be a perennial playoff contender right now. But there's some key moves, I think, around the ball that the Packers are trying to make really smart business decisions to keep this thing going. Because the one thing you don't want is to lose any of the momentum built from last season. Let's get into the article and then we'll talk about it more on the other side. This, of course, from the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel says, according to a source, the Packers and agent Drew Rosenhaus are trying to get a number that would satisfy the team's desire to lower his salary cap number. Him being running back Aaron Jones of the Green Bay Packers. How they would reduce the salary cap number remains to be seen and be a future part of the discussions. The bottom line is they want him back. If the two can't reach agreement in the next 2 weeks, the Packers could release him and then hope whatever they are offering isn't matched on the open market. But they would risk losing him to another team, so they have to work with Rosenhaus to find a way to negotiate a cap reduction. Jones is scheduled to earn a base salary of $11 million plus a per game roster bonus worth a maximum of $258,824 and a workout bonus of $500,000. Nick, Aaron Jones, great player. He's been with the Packers for a long time, a key piece of this team, but the running back position, unfortunately, it's a lot of money to pay a running back in this day and age. I'm curious what your thoughts are on this move by the Packers, but Packers fans in the comment section below, what do you think about Aaron Jones? Do you think they should keep him? Do you think his cap hit is too much? If they aren't able to come to an agreement that is favorable for both sides, what do you think that the Packers should do in the comment section below? But Nick, what do you think about this latest move by the Packers?
Yeah, so I think it's necessary, and you kind of alluded to it. Look, Aaron Jones is still playing at a high level, even with some injuries this past season. Did a lot of good things, certainly down the stretch. But the reality is, running backs, and certainly running backs, when they get on the wrong side of 30, they are not worth big time dollars. And I love looking at overthecap.com's valuation when they come up with a salary cap number that fits every player in the National Football League that makes sense. They look at production, they look at stats, they look at age, look at other contracts, and they look at position. They factor all of that in and come up with a valuation for each player. Aaron Jones's valuation right now is $2.26 million. His salary cap number, as it sits right now for 2024, $17.5 million. That's $15 million over the valuation. That is crazy overpaying by the Green Bay Packers. It makes sense. They want to lower that number. And look, I understand there isn't a desire to cut Aaron Jones. There's a lot of question marks of what that would mean. If they couldn't reach a deal, what they will do is they'll designate Aaron Jones as a post June 1st cut. That would free up about $12 million in cap space. They take $5.5 million roughly of dead money, and then they negotiate on the open market for Aaron Jones for a smaller deal. I don't think that'll come to that. I think they'll agree to something here because I think Aaron Jones and Drew Rosenhaus's agent, they're not dumb people. They're very smart. They understand the running back market. At this point, Aaron Jones is realistically going into his final significant contract, and it won't be like a 4 or 5 year deal. Again, running backs on this side of 30, they're going to get short-term deals here. The Packers seem to be the team most likely to want to keep him into the fold. I'm thinking a 2 year extension to kind of spread out some of those cap dollars, give him some guaranteed money up front to make Aaron Jones happy, spread out the signing bonus over a number of years on the back end, keep that cap number close to that $5, $6, $7 million range, lower that cap hit of this year from 17 and a half, get that down to about 8 or 9, free up about $8, $9 million of cap space doing that. I think that's the smart move. I think that's what the Packers are trying to do. But I do think it's important to understand if Aaron Jones and Drew Rosenhaus, if they're stubborn in this, the Packers, they have to designate Aaron Jones as a post-June 1st release and then negotiate with him after the fact to a new deal. That's the reality. You cannot, and you absolutely cannot, I won't stress this enough, you can't have a running back north of 30 have a salary cap number of $17.5 million on your roster. You just can't. That's not what contenders do. That will be one thing that will hamstring this Green Bay Packers team that has so much potential from going where they probably should go this upcoming season and beyond, is having a cap hit at that position on their roster. I think the Packers front office is doing a great job heading it off at the pass, and I think they're making the smart decision here.
Yeah, Nick, I agree with you completely because as you allude to, Jones will be 30 this year. You look at a running back years are like dog years, so he's really like 67 right now. He's getting quite up there for a running back. But you look at he's a savvy veteran. He's a great leader for the team on a team of very young guys. The core of this team if you look at the Jordan Loves, you look at the Jaden Reeves, the Romeo Dobbs, the Christian Watsons, especially on the offense side of the ball, AJ Dillon's, they're that 23, 24, 25 range. There's a really nice young core of players on the Packers that are very young. And I think this is a guy in Aaron Jones. He's a great player, but he doesn't fit into that group right now if he wants to get paid as much as they have him on the books for right now. It's just not feasible to keep that number going. Like you said, running backs, he's getting paid way over what he is evaluated at if you look at over the cap. He's a great player. I think him and AJ Dillon had comparable numbers this year. They both had about 600 something yards this season, and he's been injured a few times. I think if he wants to stay with this young group of Packers on the offense side of the ball and try to ride the success, see what they can all do together, he's gonna have to come together with Drew Rosenhaus. And like you allude to, they're not dumb. They know the situation in the NFL with the running back position. Got to take a pay cut if he wants to stay with this team. Otherwise, the Packers are going to have some very tough decisions to make. But I think at the end of the day, they have a really great young group of players to fall back on. So if they got to make the tough decision, I don't think it'll hurt them that much.
And it's important to understand. I always say when you're trying to figure out the way to success in the NFL is you don't want to do what dumb teams do, right? It sounds obvious, but you want to avoid what the losers are doing. And if you look at what the teams that are spending the most money in terms of salary cap dollars on the running back position, I'll give you some of the list here. You've got the Carolina Panthers, not a well-run team. The Arizona Cardinals, not a well-run team. The New York Giants have had a lot of issues. The Dallas Cowboys, Packers fans, you know about the Cowboys, right? Then you have Green Bay. Then you have the Raiders, right? Green Bay as it currently sits with Aaron Jones. Then you have the Raiders. They're going through a lot of issues. The Cleveland Browns, not a historically well-run team. Indianapolis Colts, a lot of issues with their football team. The New Orleans Saints, again, a lot of issues running with them. And then the San Francisco 49ers, and they can only get away with it because they're literally playing Brock Purdy like an Uber driver's salary. And that's the only reason they have so much dollars to spend on Christian McCaffrey. Most of those teams, not very smartly well-run teams. You don't want to be like those teams. You want to be like the Chiefs that spend almost no money on the running back position. You want to be like the Ravens. They spend very little money on the running back position. That's what consistent winning is about in the National Football League. I love the Packers are taking this approach. Again, it's kind of a tough business because Aaron Jones is such a great Packer. He's had such a great career, and I think he wants to stay in Green Bay. I think they will work him out, but they have to be willing to designate him a post-June 1st release as a last resort, because the one thing they can't do, and I'm going to say this again, this will hurt this title window the Packers are in if they don't do this, is if they keep him on the books for a high salary cap dollar, that will devastate Green Bay and it'll hurt their deep playoff run chances. I don't think it'll come to that. I think they'll agree on a deal between Rosenhaus and the front office. They'll get that number down and set them up for more big moves during free agency.